Hello and welcome to Life at the Laundry Garden on this beautiful October day. I still can't quite get used to it being October. This year is just flying by, but the dahlias are still flowering. I've got some on the windowsill here and some on the table, and we've probably only got a few more weeks left of them. I mean, they did flower right up until mid-November last year. But I think I might be lifting all of mine in the garden this year, and I will take you through all of that later on. But today I am going to be doing lots of sorting. I've stored some bulbs that I had in some of the pots earlier this year, and some I've stored okay, some haven't. Only small daffodils and some muscari. And I'm just going to take you outside and we'll have a quick look at them, and I'll try and think of, well, I've got an idea where I'm going to plant them, and then we'll get them in and I'll take you with me. So come on out. Now I've just fed the dogs their lunch and they're chomping at the bit to be let out. But there's a hive of activity going on outside. There are tractors toing and froing, and I need to be really careful with Digger because he likes the wheels to vehicles and would literally run underneath one at any given opportunity. Don't ask me why, maybe it's a terrier thing. So I'm gonna have to be quite careful. I'm gonna just take them out into the woodland quickly. You can see they are certainly ready to just come outside for a quick stretch now they've had their lunch. Okay, they're watching me put my hand on the door. They're gonna be out the door in a flash. Are you ready? Absolutely beautiful out here, really lovely. And we can see in here, these are the bulbs that I've saved and stored. So I've left the heads on them to remind me what they are. So you can tell these are muscaris here, and these are the miniature little daffodil plants as well that I had in that little planter on the table over there. But I'm going to put them somewhere else this time, and they're still in good shape. I've just stored them. I've been very lazy. I've literally just stored them in here in this container, which has lots of ventilation. So anyway, but first I've got some very eager dogs that need to be let out quickly, so we're gonna head out now and take them over here. Just head out into this little woodland bit here. I've got to be very, very careful because I can still hear the tractors toing and froing. So I'm just going to have to be very careful. But while I'm here, I'm going to show you something. We've got a huge collection of these mushrooms growing. We've had a lot of rain recently, and look, they're great to look at. I'm not sure if they're edible. I mean, I'm sure I could do some research, but I'm not going to chance it. Am I, Penny? Come on, Penny. While I'm out here with the dogs, we've created a bit of a woodland bit just where I'm standing here. And we created this section, about over 5 years ago, when I lost my other dog before we got Amber. And my other dog was called Bee, and she was a spaniel, and we buried her just in the middle bit here where this stumpery is. And I decided to create a bit of a woodland, slightly spring garden in memory of her, and it's really looking lovely. And I've got a lot of cyclamen. This is cyclamen hederifolium, I think it's album, with it being the white flowers. But look at those beautiful leaves, just stunning. And then there's some more at the base of this tree. Hello, Digger. Such beautiful flowers. But I do have a lot of hellebores that come up in here as well. And you can see There's still some leaves on these. And some geraniums. There are a lot of hellebores. This here is a Pulmonaria. I just love these spotted leaves on them. And these produce sort of pinky blue flowers in the springtime, which are gorgeous. There are there's also some ferns. And, oh yes, and some hostas as well. And also some Brunnera. This is Brunnera Jack, and this produces beautiful, sort of a real ice cold blue in the springtime. I can't wait to show you when that happens. So if we look at this field in front of us here, this is where they've been cutting all the maize or corn as well, which it's also called too. Feels quite strange when it's all gone, but they do it so quickly, it's phenomenal. Oh, the light here this afternoon is beautiful. So I take my dogs on short strolls in this woodland, which is on the outside of the walled garden. You can just see the wall there. And they just love their strolls. There's more mushrooms here. Little pockets of them. Look at this one. First of all, I thought I'd bring you to the back of the house to show you this lovely plant we've got here. Now it's come to the end of its summer display, and I'm going to take it off because it's not attached to here. It sits in this lovely tray. So I'm going to take it out of the tray and completely empty it, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to put in it and how I'm going to go about it. Let's look. Sweet little window box. It's not a massive window, so I've deliberately chosen some bulbs that won't get very tall because I don't want to block any light coming into this room. So I'm going to have to be quite careful when lifting this. As you can imagine, it's going to be quite heavy with the planting in and with the weight of this. Now this is a stone trough and it's not moving anywhere, so I can stand on it safely. So if you're feeling strong, you could lift this and take it down, but I might just pull out some of the plants, and what that will do is it will just lighten the load a little bit and make it a little bit easier to grab hold of safely as well. Just going to drop those in there, like so. Oops. I mean, I could empty all the soil out if I wanted to, but I'm just going to put those down there, and then I'm going to lift this very carefully down here without bending my back too much. Lots of squatting. And then I'm going to get very carefully this tray which has water in it and tip it out. There's a grid there so it'll catch it nicely. So And actually what I'm going to do is put this down here for now. And then I'm going to empty all this spent soil out of here. So this is just some peat-free compost. And there's a lot of roots in here from these bedding plants. So I need to loosen all of that up. And what I'm going to do is add some more peat-free compost just to loosen everything up. Because it's quite good to reuse this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And it's fine for bulbs to go underneath. Right, now I've taken it down, I can assess things a bit better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty it. So all this spent, I'm going to put some gloves on actually. I'm going to put these on and take all of this compost out. Because what happens is with summer bedding is all the roots can congest at the base, and that can prevent anything. So you can see it's quite clogged up and it needs breaking up before I put anything else in here. And I'm only going to put some bulbs in, so that's not too bad. And I want to reuse this as well, so I can add extra peat-free compost anyway, because a lot of compost has gone in with the roots from the summer bedding plants. Lovely. Right, all empty. In case you're wondering, this is a handmade galvanised steel planter made by a company called Brunnera Jack, which is a really lovely small company here in the UK. And they make planters as well. We've got one by the front door, but this is very, very sweet and just sits right under the window. Anyway, what I've done is emptied out also these stones. Now I put these stones and bits of terracotta. So the terracotta, because it has a beveled edge to it, you can place them carefully to cover the drainage holes so they're not completely covered, but it just helps to keep that drainage flowing. So with all the stone sitting around that base, you can get a good flow and no water clogging in the planter, which is ideal for bulbs, of course, because we don't want them to get waterlogged at all. So before I put any bulbs in, I'm going to put these back in and place these over the drainage holes carefully so that the water can still run through and not be clogged, and not so the soil drops out of them as well. I'll give you a closer look on how I'm going to do this. So you can see a drainage hole here, and I've got my beveled pot. You can see that there's a nice bevel on that. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit over one half and a little bit over the other, so there's still room for water to travel out. And then I'm just going to carefully put these stones around, and I'm going to do that with the other drainage hole here and here, and then completely fill the rest with just one or two layers, or even one layer of the stones before I put the compost in. And here it is, filled back up with just sort of a single layer of the stones, and you can see where the drainage holes are by where the terracotta pots are. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some extra peat-free compost in here and give it a good mix up. Here are the bulbs I've saved from a pot I had last year. So I know this is Narcissus Minnow, and this is Muscari, and I can tell it's Muscari because I've left the heads on. This is Siberian Tiger, so this is a very, very pale blue, really, really pretty, and both are the ideal size for a window box. So I'm going to check them all through and make sure they're all nice and strong and healthy, and then I'm going to snip off these bits that have died off. You wouldn't think it was October, would you? It's so beautiful out here. I know I should be wearing my hat, but this is not a lengthy job. It's quite quick and easy to do. So anyway, I've taken all the little bits off the bulbs, and they now look nice and tidy, ready to be planted. And here they all are. Jumbled them all up because I now know where I'm going to be planting them, and I'm going to take them over to the planter here. And what I'm going to do is, I've got my peat-free soil and I've mixed in some extra. So what I'm going to do is, because this, so the depth of this is to my hand. So with the bulbs, what you want is the bulb to be sitting probably halfway down, which is probably, I'd say, twice the size of the bulb. Right, so I've put the peat-free compost in to just about halfway, and then what I'm going to do, now there is, in here you can see, there's a little bit of horticultural grit in here from when they were planted last time, and that's fine because all that will do is add to the extra drainage that they're going to need, which is fine. I'm going to put them all in quickly, and then what I'm going to do is just space them out. Right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you a closer look at a bulb. Now, this here is the tip where the flower stem and flower will come out of, and this bit here, which is the fuzzy bit, is the base. So what you want to do is have the top bit sticking upwards. I mean, if they fall to the side, don't worry, they'll find their way out eventually, so I wouldn't lose sleep over it at all. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around them all and just sit them the right way up, like that. And here they all are, ready for a top layer of compost. And here it is, all filled up nicely. There's something quite satisfying about seeing a freshly planted pot, or planter even. Now I filled it right the way to the top because this will settle and it will drop down a little bit over time. I'm not going to water it in, but what I am going to do, I'm not going to give it any water. That peat-free compost was fairly moist anyway, and I don't want the bulbs to get saturated in any way or rot. I mean, daffodils and muscari are pretty robust bulbs anyway, but what I don't want to do is let this completely dry out come midwinter, early spring. So I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I'm actually looking at the window here and thinking I'm going to give the window a clean and the windowsill a wipe down, and then I'm going to pop it back on the windowsill, looking nice and tidy and fresh and ready for spring. All done, and a clean window too. Well, I can't wait to see these flowering in the spring. I've not had a window box full of daffodils and muscari before, so I'm really looking forward to it. And I think I timed that well. It's started to rain, so I'm going to pack up and head indoors. Thank you very much for watching this week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.